Hey there. It is a beautiful day out today. It was nice yesterday as well, and I decided to go ahead and get my onions out in the ground. I might be a little early, but we're gonna play it by ear and see. I think I'll be okay. So onions can be grown in three different ways, or you can start onions in three different ways. You can start them from sets, which is basically the little onion bulb, or you can plant them from seed, or you can plant them from seedlings or plants. And I will go ahead and link below to a full article on all the pros and cons of each. I personally like to grow from either seedlings or seeds themselves. I like to start the seeds. This year I am going with the seedlings or the plants because I didn't have a real good, this is our first year. We just moved to Tennessee. This is our first year in this garden, and I don't have a real good place to go ahead and start seeds. Okay, so let's talk about the type of onion that you're going to want to plant. Onions, the growth of an onion is dependent upon the length of day or dependent on how much sun, how much daylight it is getting. Of course, they like a bright sunny location with loose soil, evenly moist. Practically every plant likes those conditions. If you draw a line across the country, east-west, just above Tennessee, and you're going to go directly across the country, pretty close. I mean, there's some up and down. I can link to a map for you. Though, if you live in the north, you're going to choose a long day onion, and if you live south, you want to choose a short day onion. Now, there are also some varieties that are kind of considered intermediate, and you could go either way with those. But it has to do with the length of the day in your growing season. And so I'm in Tennessee, I'm below the line, and so I am doing short day onions. Although one of these that I planted yesterday, I think it was the yellow ones, I don't remember now. I'll have to look at the tag. One of them was an intermediate, which is fine, and the other one was definitely marked short day. It should say on the tag of whatever onions you buy, or on the seed packet, or the package of bulbs. It doesn't matter which type of plant which type of growing you choose. Look for the short day and the long day, and then you'll have better luck depending on where you live. So let me show you my little garden bed here, and I will go ahead and get some pictures also. But this is where I planted my red onions, and don't know how well it's going to show up there, but I basically have three rows. There's a row here, and there's a row here, and there's a row here. I also planted some yellow onions, and they're over on the other side of my raised bed. Now this raised bed, I'm kind of squatting down here, is a new bed to me, and I love it so far. This is like the beginning of spring. How can I already know that I love it? But onions do well in soil that is worked up nice and loose. So even if you are a no-till person, make sure that that soil is not hard and compact. Hard clay would not work well. You're going to need to amend it. I planted fairly close. When you do some research and try to look for how far apart to plant your onions, I've seen anywhere from 3 to 6 inches. And so all I did was I went like that to do my measurements. I didn't like take a ruler out and lay it out. I just went about the width of my fingers, and I would say it's probably 3.5, 4 inches apart. And then my outside row here to my outside row over here is about 12 inches. When I got that completed to the point where I kind of wanted to stop, I still had onions left. And so I went ahead and I planted a row down the middle. So my rows are actually about 6 inches apart. It's fairly close. I think it's going to be fine depending on how big the onions get. Now, like I said, this is my first year in Tennessee, and so we'll see if they get a lot bigger than what I'm used to. But when I look at how this is laid out, and I picture about how big onion would get for me, I think I'm good. They're gonna have room enough to grow. My plan is, if it starts getting crowded, if I just have really good luck and it starts getting crowded, I'm just gonna thin them and use them in the kitchen. I'll just pull out like every other one as they're getting bigger, and then leave the others to have that more space to grow. So I don't think it's a big deal. This is a raised bed garden, and from what I understand, it actually you can plant things pretty compactly in a raised bed, just because it's got so much depth to it, and the soil is looser And so I don't know. This is what I did. Time will tell. I will do a post update probably later when I'm harvesting. But yeah, that's all I have to do. So I just start at one end. Oh, I should show you. This is just a piece of scrap wood, and all I did was I took a Sharpie marker and I marked every 6 inches across, just as kind of a planting guide. And so all I have to do is just lay that out there, and I know from there to there is 12 inches, and I'll just leave this in my garden all year. It's just a nice way to have those measurements without having to, you know, bring a ruler out or something like that. Of course, you can just eyeball it. One thing I did also when I made my row, I'm not real good at making straight lines. So if you just take, I did it with my hoe, figured out where I wanted my row. I just kind of used this to make a line, and then I just planted all along where that line is. So that's just kind of an easy way to do it. So I started at one end, planted it, I spread my fingers apart, planted the next one, spread my fingers apart, and planted the next one. Okay, so all I'm doing is taking and just doing a finger width apart. I just poke a little hole, stick that down in there and pinch it, and then I make my next hole, stick down that down in there and pinch it. You don't want to plant real deep, so it doesn't really need to go, you know, you just want to get the bulb in the dirt. Don't come up, you know, clear up on the stem. Onions do not need to be planted deep, and that is as simple as it needs to be. And that's it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. Time will tell.